For days, social media has been stitching together scraps of drama, rumors, leaked clips, cryptic posts, even whispers from a hospital bed, but the full story remained locked behind silence. Until now, Tessa has finally broken through, and what she reveals is heavier, darker, and far more explosive than anyone expected. In a trembling voice note, raw with emotion, she rewinds to the moment everything unraveled, the long walk to Terrine's door, the gut-sinking screams echoing from inside before it swung open, and the chaos that left her battered, sobbing, and clutching nothing but air. She insists she arrived with nothing but desperation for her child, no anger, no intent to fight. But what she says happened instead flips the narrative on its head, an ambush, a crowd waiting, a blur of hands and shouts that ended in the most humiliating and heartbreaking moment of her life. Her tone dripped with anger, her heartbreak undeniable, as Tessa accused Terrine of not being alone that day, claiming someone else was inside, waiting to make sure she walked away without her child. And if Tessa's words hold any truth, this was no spur-of-the-moment argument. It was a calculated ambush. But here's where things get even messier. Tessa says she has evidence, solid proof, and she's ready to drop it for the world to see. That threat alone has the internet bracing for an explosion, but to really understand why her emotional confession lit social media on fire, you have to rewind, not just to last week's chaos, but years back. Because what went down on that doorstep wasn't random. It was the boiling point of a family feud that had been quietly rotting under layers of denial and betrayal for far too long. Let's start with what everyone already knows. The Rock family's history has never been neat. Chrisean Rock might be the loudest, most chaotic name attached to reality TV, with her wild relationship with Blueface turning into tabloid gold. But behind the drama was a family already fractured long before fame. Siblings divided into camps, cousins with old grudges, wounds never given the chance to heal. It was a storm waiting for the right spark. And then there was Tessa. For years, she lived outside the spotlight while Chrisean's name dominated headlines. She was the quiet one, the sister who didn't air dirty laundry online, who focused on raising her son instead of chasing clicks and clout. But according to Chidity, another sister in the Rock clan, everything shifted when Terrine, a cousin with her own reputation for shady dealings, ended up with custody of Tessa's child. That's where the family drama twisted into something bigger, darker, and far more complicated. Sources close to the family claimed Terrine originally stepped in to help when Tessa hit a rough patch. But somewhere along the line, help turned into control, and control turned into the custody battle at the center of this firestorm. Rumors swirled about money problems, unstable housing, even whispers of a brief CPS investigation. On paper, it looked like Terrine had stepped in to protect the kids, to give them stability when things with Tessa were shaky. But people close to the family paint a very different picture. They insist it was never about safety, it was about control. And if there is one thing to understand about the Rock family, it is this: whenever control shifts, chaos is not far behind. Chidity has been vocal, claiming Tessa never surrendered her rights as a mother. According to her, Tessa believed she was only agreeing to a temporary arrangement, a short-term fix until she got back on her feet. But somewhere along the way, the lines blurred. Papers were allegedly filed, signatures may have been forged, and before Tessa realized what was happening, she was living every parent's worst nightmare, watching someone else raise her child while she was completely shut out. And here is where things get even messier. Terrine was not just some cousin stepping in out of kindness. Leaked messages and insider whispers suggest she had Chrisean's quiet support from the beginning. Chrisean might be a celebrity now, but when family power dynamics shift, loyalty inside the Rock clan can get complicated fast. Relatives say the drama escalated when Tessa began fighting back, demanding custody of her son. That is when everything reportedly boiled over, screaming matches at family gatherings, Tessa pleading for help, Chidity siding with her, Terrine refusing to budge, and Chrisean allegedly brushing it off, telling everyone it was handled. But handled how? Nobody seems able to answer that without looking nervous. Because here is what Tessa finally shared. She says showing up at Terrine's door that day was never about revenge or rage. It was desperation. Before it came to that, she claims she tried everything: calls, texts, mediation, even begging Chrisean to step in. Every attempt was met with silence, slammed doors, or ignored messages. So when she finally walked up to that door, she says it was not anger that led her there. It was a mother's last hope. It all began with desperation, a kind of desperation that brews silently until it explodes, and when it erupts within a family already fractured by grudges, pride, and old wounds, the fallout can be catastrophic. According to Chastity's detailed account, what happened to Tessa that day was no coincidence. Terrine was not caught off guard, not scrambling or panicked when Tessa appeared at the door. No, she was ready. Chastity claims there were people waiting inside, some relatives, maybe close friends, and possibly even hired security, prepared to handle whatever Tessa might do. That single detail changes everything because it takes the story from a heated family dispute to something that feels like it was planned in advance. And yet, whether this was a calculated ambush or just terrible timing, the result remained the same. A mother arrived to reclaim her child and ended up leaving in the back of an ambulance, broken and humiliated. But here is what adds even more weight to this tragedy. This was not the first time the Rock family's private wars had exploded for the entire world to witness. Their history is littered with public meltdowns that turned into viral spectacles. Who could forget those infamous videos of Chrisean swinging at her own father in the middle of the street, fists flying as bystanders recorded every second? Or the chaotic live streams where siblings shouted accusations at each other, dragging family secrets into the digital spotlight while thousands of viewers watched in real time? These moments became memes, gossip headlines, and social media punchlines, but beneath the entertainment value was a disturbing truth. Violence in this family was nothing new. It had become almost expected, as if conflict was stitched into their bloodline, passed down like a curse from one generation to the next. So, when the story of Tessa's hospital visit broke, people weren't just shocked, they were divided. Some argued this was just another Rock family drama gone too far, the latest chapter in a long line of public explosions. Others insisted this time was different because a child was at the center. This wasn't about siblings fighting over old grudges or viral livestream chaos. This was about a mother bleeding outside a home where her own child was kept behind closed doors. That is why the incident hit so hard. It wasn't just the violence itself, it was the sense that everything had been building toward this moment. The years of family feuds, the live stream wars, the public breakdowns, they all felt like warnings nobody took seriously. And now a mother's pain, a child's tears, and a family's secrets had collided in the worst way possible, leaving the internet wondering how far the Rock family's chaos would go before someone finally put a stop to it. But this? A mother versus cousin custody clash ending in blood, police reports, and hospital visits? This feels like a point where everything breaks. And that's why Tessa's version of events has the internet buzzing, because she isn't just explaining what happened. She's accusing her own family of betrayal stretching back years, of letting fame, pride, and power plays destroy the one thing that should have been untouchable, a child's right to his mother. And if what Tessa says is true, if there were people waiting, if there were secret deals behind closed doors, if Chrisean knew more than she admitted, then this isn't some messy family fight. It's a calculated effort to erase Tessa from her son's life entirely. The stakes? Higher than ever. The emotions? Raw enough to burn. And while Tessa has finally broken her silence, the internet's already divided, taking sides before all the facts are even out. Picture this: a cold late afternoon, the kind where the sun's dipping low, but the tension in the air crackles like fire. Tessa stands outside Terrine's building, one hand gripping her phone, the other clutching a crumpled piece of paper, custody hopes, maybe court filings, maybe just a mother's last plea, before she steps into the moment that will change everything. For weeks, Tessa had been begging for nothing more than a chance to see her son, a note in her trembling hand proving she had every right. But calls went unanswered, doors shut in her face, and relatives claimed they were too busy to get involved. That day, when she finally climbed those steps, she carried no anger, no plans for chaos, only the hope of holding her child again. But the second her fingers brushed the doorbell, everything changed. Tessa recalls barely knocking before Terrine flung the door open, smirking as if she had been expecting her. "Why are you here?" she allegedly snapped, phone already raised like a weapon. "I came for my son," Tessa said, and that was enough to set off an eruption heard by neighbors half a block away, Terrine screaming, Tessa pleading, voices ricocheting through the house like thunder. Then came the moment no one saw coming. From behind Terrine, a man appeared, tall, broad, a stranger whose only role, Tessa claims, was to make sure she left empty-handed. He blocked the door while Terrine filmed, shouting accusations that cut deep. "You're not a mother. You left him. He doesn't even ask for you." Tessa's voice cracked as she fought back through tears. "That's a lie. He's my son. He loves me. You can't do this." Witnesses say the tension snapped like a rope pulled too tight. Shouts turned to scuffling. A crash rang out, then sudden silence. Moments later, Tessa was on the ground, clutching herself, neighbors rushing to call an ambulance. As paramedics lifted her into the stretcher, her little boy appeared at the upstairs window, small and bewildered, peeking through the curtains as his mother was taken away, a single image that burned itself into the hearts of everyone watching. But the story did not end there. Hours later, as Tessa lay in a hospital bed, Terrine's own sister Chastity went live online, her voice shaking with rage as she accused her siblings of plotting everything. She claimed Terrine had warned their sister Chrisean beforehand that Tessa was coming, and Chrisean's cold response was simple: handle it. Do not let her leave with that boy. If true, it meant the confrontation was not a random explosion, it was premeditated. Chastity insisted there was even a group chat where Chrisean and others openly discussed keeping Tessa away from her son, proof that this was bigger, messier, and more deliberate than anyone realized. Almost overnight, screenshots began flooding social media, some blurred, some clearly fake, others looking all too real. But by then, the damage was already done. What started as a bitter clash between Tessa and Terrine suddenly morphed into something much bigger: Tessa against the entire Rock family machine. Comment sections went wild as accusations flew. If Chrisean truly said, "handle it," fans declared, then her reputation was finished. People pointed out the hypocrisy. She could jump into rap beefs like Blueface, but could not fight for her nephew to have his mother. This was no longer messy family drama. It was beginning to look criminal. And while Chrisean stayed silent, the internet interpreted that silence as guilt. But the chaos deepened with a new twist. An 8-second video clip leaked on Twitter, shaky and grainy like it came from a peephole camera. Yet those few seconds showed everything: Tessa pounding on the door, the strange man stepping forward, and then her body crumpling before the clip cut off, leaving only questions. Did he hit her? Did she fall? Was she pushed? No one knew, but the coldness of it all sent chills through everyone who watched it. The tweet's caption, "Y'all still think this was an accident?" ignited a firestorm. By morning, #Justice for Tessa was trending with millions of posts, but another hashtag also exploded: #Cancel Chrisean. The internet was divided, and Chrisean's name sat dead center in the storm. Then came the most chilling of all. Hospital staff leaked that while Tessa lay bruised and bleeding, she whispered to a nurse, her voice shaking, "They told me if I kept pushing, I'd never see my son again. Not alive." Those 7 words shifted the story from a messy feud to a full-blown nightmare, turning public outrage into something far darker. Was this really just a bitter custody fight spiraling out of control, or was there something far more sinister hiding beneath the surface? If Tessa's claims were true, then the question became even darker: who was pulling the strings to make sure she never held her child again? The internet was already ablaze after her hospital confession and Chit's bombshell allegations, but no one was ready for the next twist. This stopped feeling like family drama and began creeping toward the territory of a full-blown national scandal. It all started with a shadowy Twitter account under the name @T_Truth4Tessa, which suddenly began posting what appeared to be leaked text messages between Terrine and someone saved only as R. In the alleged messages, Terrine wrote, She's coming again. I told you we can't keep blocking her forever. The reply came cold and calculated. Don't fold. Remember what was signed. She doesn't have rights anymore. If she gets loud, record it. The screenshots spread like wildfire. Fans dissected every word, every detail, until one question dominated the conversation. Who was R? Some speculated it stood for Rock, as in Chrisean Rock herself, while others believed it pointed to someone inside CPS trying to cover things up. Either way, the messages suggested Terrine wasn't operating alone, and that someone with real power might be orchestrating the entire situation behind the scenes. And then came wave 2 of chaos. TikTok detectives got involved. Dozens of slowed-down edits of the peephole video surfaced, with users claiming they heard a third voice in the background, faint, muffled, but undeniably there. Some swore it was Chrisean's voice. Others believed it belonged to a man. But the theory that hit the hardest, the one that shattered viewers emotionally, was the claim that the sound wasn't an adult at all. Many insisted it was a child. A child crying. A child begging for his mother as chaos unfolded on the other side of the door. Within hours, TikTok flooded with heartbreaking edits under the hashtag #FreeTessaHon. The little boy smiling in old family photos now overlaid with captions like, "They took him and he just wants his mom." It was no longer just a fight in one family's living room. It was now a mystery gripping millions, with the entire internet demanding answers. Online sentiment quickly turned explosive, with people convinced someone was not only trying to silence Tessa, but now even the public was being shut out, and the chaos deepened when a hospital nurse, demanding anonymity, revealed to a gossip blog that while Tessa lay bruised and shaken, she whispered a chilling warning. "They told me if I kept fighting, my son would disappear. They told me I would never see him again unless I signed," leaving everyone demanding answers. Signed what exactly? Was there a secret custody deal, a gag order, or something far darker? Before theories could settle, another bombshell landed when a leaked voice recording surfaced online, allegedly capturing Terrine coldly telling a family member, "I do not care what anybody says." She was never supposed to show up that day. She wasn't supposed to see him like that. Not after everything we did to keep it quiet, igniting speculation that Terrine and Chrisean might have secretly orchestrated a plan to keep Tessa from her son, with some even questioning whether CPS was covering up mistakes or if the child was being used as leverage in something much bigger than a custody fight. Then celebrities jumped in. Summer Walker tweeted cryptically, "When money plus power mix with custody battles, mothers always lose." Always, while Cardi B went live on Instagram saying, "I don't know the Rock family like that, but if y'all leaking DMs where people plotting to keep a mom from her child, that's dirty. God don't bless that." And even 50 Cent reposted a headline with the blunt caption, "This like a Lifetime movie. Somebody lying big time." Wait till the lawyers eat this up, triggering major industry backlash as brands rumored to be working with Chrisean reportedly froze deals and reality TV networks reconsidered upcoming projects, unwilling to risk being tied to a scandal involving a mother, a child, and alleged violence. But the most devastating blow came when Chastity went live again, this time holding up what she claimed was a custody transfer agreement dated 6 months earlier with Terrine's signature, a blurred CPS worker's name, and a third signature looking alarmingly like Chrisean's initials, sending comment sections into chaos as TikTok lawyers dissected every frame, concluding that if authentic, the document proved this was not random family drama but a calculated plan, months in the making, to strip Tessa of her parental rights in silence, before Chastity, voice cracking, stared into the camera and declared, "They think I'm scared." They believed the truth would stay buried, but the unblurred footage was already beyond their control, sent to someone powerful enough to ensure that if anything happened to me or my sister, the world would see everything. What began as a messy Rock family feud confined to gossip blogs quickly escalated into the realm of lawyers, activists, and possibly courts as each leak, every blurred video, every voice note, shifted the narrative from family drama to what felt like a calculated takedown, with Tessa's son trapped in the center while the scandal exploded into a cultural firestorm, trending worldwide under hashtag Justice for Tessa with over 3.8 million tweets in just 2 days. TikTok flooded with reaction videos and Instagram lives, turning into battlegrounds where fans split sharply between Tessa's supporters, who demanded accountability from Terrine and Chrisean after her heartbreaking hospital confession, sharing viral comments like, "This is not drama, this is trauma for life," and organizing virtual vigils with profile pictures of candles and artwork captioned "Reunite them," and the Chrisean defenders, who insisted fans were rushing to judgment without knowing the full custody details, arguing that Tessa might not be innocent and echoing viral defenses like, "What if she lost custody for a reason?" and "People forget Chrisean has her own trauma," transforming what began as private turmoil into a public war, pulling celebrities, fans, and even industry insiders into its chaos with no signs of slowing down. The blame game reached its peak when people began questioning why Tessa was expected to carry the entire burden of fixing her family's chaos, and soon entire comment sections turned into battlegrounds, not about music, not about Blueface, but about motherhood, accountability, and betrayal, drawing in celebrities who made it clear this was no longer just a Rock family scandal. Cardi B, holding her daughter during a live stream, declared, "A child knows their mother, no matter what the paperwork says," and watching another woman block that bond? "I can't respect it," while Tamar Braxton tweeted that this was every mother's worst nightmare and warned CPS not to play games, and even 50 Cent, true to form, threw shade by saying, "When the Rock family fights, somebody's going to jail, watch." But the most jaw-dropping reaction came from Blueface himself, laughing during a drunken live stream and calling the family battle wild, a move that fans slammed as cruel given his own messy custody drama. Meanwhile, the backlash began rippling through the industry as gossip blogs claimed Chrisean's brand deals were being quietly put on hold, fashion shoots paused over unresolved controversy, and reality TV allegedly held emergency meetings to reconsider projects tied to her name because no one wanted to be associated with what fans were now calling the theft of a mother's child. While legal analysts on YouTube dissected whether Terrine could face assault or custodial interference charges if Chrisean might be implicated over the leaked texts and signatures, and whether CPS itself could be sued for mishandling the case, but fans refused to wait for the courts, launching petitions like "Return Tessa's Son," which exploded with over 350,000 signatures in just 24 hours, turning a private custody war into a full-blown cultural reckoning. Another petition demanding a full investigation into CPS for alleged corruption in the Rock family case was already racing past 200,000 signatures when the story took an even more heartbreaking turn. Fans began digging up old Facebook videos of Tessa, clips of her singing lullabies to her son, playing with him at the park, comforting him when he cried, and they went viral with captions like, "This is the bond they tried to erase." One video alone, with nearly 5 million views, showed her little boy pleading, "Mommy, don't leave," followed by the haunting overlay text, "Now she can't come back." The emotional impact was crushing, leaving people furious and heartbroken at the same time. Then, just as the outrage seemed to reach its breaking point, Chitty posted one last cryptic message before disappearing from Instagram again. "Y'all think it's bad now? Wait till you see who else signed those papers." That one line sent the internet into overdrive. Who else could be involved? A cousin, another CPS worker, or Chrisean herself? Theories erupted, threads multiplied, and reaction videos flooded YouTube as the public turned into amateur detectives, convinced they were unraveling a real-time conspiracy. Meanwhile, Tessa remained silent, still healing, still waiting for her son. But the darkest twist came late last night when a YouTube channel known for celebrity leaks dropped a blurred PDF titled "Custody Agreement Addendum Confidential," allegedly sent by a family insider determined to expose the truth. The document revealed something devastating. It wasn't just about Terrine's temporary guardianship. It contained a clause indicating that Tessa's parental rights were not suspended, not paused, but permanently terminated. And in the signature section were 3 names: Terrine, a CPS caseworker, and a third scrawled signature marked only with the initial R. Fans zoomed in immediately, convinced the rushed handwriting pointed to Rock, as in Chrisean Rock herself. If true, It meant Chrisean wasn't just aware of the arrangement, she was directly tied to it. It now appeared that Chrisean may have signed off on her own sister losing custody of her child, and the revelations only grew darker. Alongside the leaked PDF came a short audio clip, allegedly from a private court conference call, where a muffled female voice could be heard saying, "Make sure this doesn't leak. If she finds out who signed, it's over for all of us." The recording cut abruptly, but the implication was undeniable. The hospital incident may not have been a random confrontation, but rather part of a calculated plan to keep Tessa silent before she could expose the truth. Social media erupted instantly. Twitter hashtags like #WhoIsR, #CancelChris, and #JusticeForTessa dominated timelines as fans debated whether the document was authentic. Some argued it had to be fake, while others insisted that Chastity's hint about another mysterious signature meant there was fire behind all the smoke. Then, out of nowhere, a cryptic Instagram account under the name Arsent appeared, posting one chilling message: "The R isn't Chrisean. The truth is bigger. The family ain't ready." That single line split the internet in half again. If it wasn't Chrisean, then who is it? Another relative? A lawyer? A judge? While the online chaos escalated, the most haunting moment came from Tessa herself. In her latest hospital update, she looked directly into the camera and whispered, "They think they broke me. They think I'm done. But I have something they can't erase. When I get out of here, the world will see it." The cliffhanger sent shockwaves through the entire saga. Tessa was hinting at proof that could destroy Terrine's defense and expose the real R. The only question left hanging in the air: would she survive, both physically and legally, long enough to release it? Because if history had taught anyone following this storm one thing, it was this: the Rock family did not let secrets die quietly. Will Tessa finally reclaim her son, or will the weight of hidden truths crush her before she even gets the chance? This battle is far from over. In fact, it feels like the storm has only just begun. Now the question lands squarely in your hands, because this story has spiraled to a point where neutrality is no longer possible. Believe Tessa's confession that she was cornered, silenced, and hospitalized simply for fighting to hold her child again? Or do you suspect there is another layer buried beneath sealed court records, blurred out signatures, and the haunting mystery surrounding R? Because here is the reality. This scandal stopped being about petty family disputes a long time ago. It has become a story about power, about the terrifying lengths people will go to protect secrets, control narratives, and decide who gets silenced in the process.